Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I thought I would sit down and do another video for you lovely ladies and gentlemen. Let me get a sip of my water first. Get my radio voice going and let's talk about this. All right, this was prompted by someone I saw in my comments who was arguing and telling me nonsense like, oh, the whole blood cholesterol or saturated fat being linked to heart disease and cardiovascular disease and atherosclerosis has been so debunked. No, it hasn't. If anything, the evidence has gotten stronger for it. And here's the problem with this. When people go around repeating this stuff because they're taking the word of these quacks, and you need to keep in mind, people say, but they're MDs. Well, some of them have lost their licenses to practice, so they're not technically practicing doctors. If you're going to take the word of these quacks who are making money selling fad diets to fringe people, do you understand that when you were spreading this nonsense that you were harming people? The people, they don't seem to grasp the harm that they are causing. For example, take me. Heart disease runs on both sides of my family. Okay? I have to be kind of careful with what I do. I keep up with these things. It is a concern for me. So if I've got someone in here who's then were to spread this information and convince me, or someone in my situation, oh, all the mainstream doctors are wrong because this doctor over here, who I didn't bother to look to see what Quackwatch and other people and other skeptics have to say about their work. I didn't bother to research that. I didn't research to see if any of the stuff that they've said has actually been addressed by legitimate experts and governing bodies. Has maybe Baylor College of Medicine, their nutrition department, written a rebuttal to them? They provided evidence, right? They accept the stuff of these people and they reject the main evidence. Do you understand that you will kill people? And that's what they're not getting. You're so caught up as someone who doesn't understand the topic and following this fringe expert. Do you understand that if you recruit people to your cause, spamming this stuff everywhere, and heart disease runs in their family, and you convince them, and you're wrong because you are wrong, and it turns out that the 99% of the medical and research community actually are right, and that the 1% fringe experts you're following are wrong, if that turns out to be true, you do know you're killing them, right? And that's what people need to understand. You need to be clear when you buy into this stuff, because I know they bought in. You need to understand that if you spread this in people who are genetically prone to heart disease and things, and it runs in their families, if you convince them of this and you spread it to them, you murdered them. You killed them. You know that, right? Like, well, I didn't intend to. I bought into this BS. You bought into it because you're stupid. Or you're gullible, right? You're gullible. Okay, so in that case, you didn't intend for them to die, but your actions caused them to die. Okay, do you think that's a good thing? Do you think that's a good thing? It's just random people who you don't know? That you spread information that led to their death. You see why that's a problem? Because they're saying, well, it's not true, but it is true. The data is pretty strong. And when people say, but this one meta-analysis, you have 7 others say the opposite in wide-scale studies, when you're pulling one single analysis that was done and funded, and it contradicts large bodies of evidence, both in the epidemiology and that we can show directly in the metabolic ward, you've got a problem. You're going to say saturated fat doesn't raise LDL. Well, then they'll argue, well, LDL is not bad, but it is bad. So you have these same fringe experts who are then going to have their own health problems saying, oh, no, 300 LDL is fine, or 500 LDL is fine. They're saying this, yet every medical institution around the world is screaming, no, this literally elevated LDL is the cause of atherosclerosis. This is not even debated anymore. Okay, so you need to be aware of that the overall consensus, according to the American Atherosclerosis Association, is that elevated LDL-C is the primary cause of atherosclerosis. All this other stuff is secondary and minor and affects other stuff. things like your HDL ratios, your blood pressure, your triglycerides. So these are all important, but the actual atherosclerosis is directly caused by elevated LDL. Okay? Directly caused. And anything over 100 is going to contribute to it. Okay? Anything under 70, you don't see any. It goes to 0. There's no further atherosclerosis. The only diets that have seemed to reverse it are absurdly low-fat diets, like ridiculously restrictively low-fat diets have been the only thing that's kind of shown reversal. And that's still debatable, right? That's not considered fully proven. That's a controversial topic. But they'll throw stuff like that, or they'll pull old studies, or I had someone say, well, have you looked into Hong Kong? Well, look at them, they eat more saturated fat, all this long-lived society. Have you looked at the modern statistics? They were, but since they've adopted a more Western diet with more saturated fat and more fat in general, what has happened? Their obesity rates have gone up. Their cardiovascular disease and their diabetes has gone up. It's gone up considerably. They're fixing to not be in that area anymore of longest lived. As soon as this current generation gets a little older, another 10 years, they're going to be knocked out of that spot because we're seeing all these diseases go up now. They've done really well up until this point. Eating a lot of white rice and fish and other stuff. Surprise, surprise. Right? But people need to understand this. And when you spread this nonsense, because it is nonsense, if you are wrong, do you understand that you are hurting people? This is directly harmful to other people. That if it turns out that the overwhelming majority of scientists and medical doctors in the research is correct, and your fringe experts and conspiracy theorists are wrong, this is not just, an internet, haha, we're having a little fun, because that's usually the thing with a lot of this. Well, we can goof off on the internet. Other than if you get people to follow this lifestyle, it's deadly if you're wrong. That's why it's a problem. That's why I don't like it. This is why I speak out against it. It is spreading misinformation. And the quacks who are promoting it probably know better. Unless they're that Saldino guy who's so dumb that he doesn't seem to realize, all the other doctors are right and I'm wrong, and now I have all these issues because I thought having my LDL that high was perfectly safe. When you have thousands of other medical doctors who are specialized in the field and he's not, who are saying, no, dude, that's actually what's causing it. That's really, 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 really bad. Okay? So don't assume that just because someone's a doctor that they're not crazy, that they're not a fraud, they're not a con artist or any of those things. And the thing to remember, what do you call the guy? What do you call the guy who graduated last in his medical school class? Graduated very last, the bottom of the rung, like number 400 out of 400, right? You call him doctor. You might want to look at what the majority of experts are saying in the field, particularly the ones who have the best experience. Just saying. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.